These are the average daily temperatures for the month of October, but I'm going to show you why you can throw this map right out the window, at least for a while. In Bermuda, you're in the crosshairs of a hurricane. The time for action is now, so be ready. We're going to take a look at the tropics here, including a sneaky little system down in the Gulf. We've got all of that and much, much more coming up right now on Cold Rain's Weather World. Hey there, friends. Welcome into the channel. My name is Jason. I'm so glad you are here with me as we kick off the best month of the year. That's right. It is October the 1st. And if you don't agree that October is the best month of the year, let me know what your favorite month is down in the comments section and why. You might be able to convince me that December is, I don't know. We'll see. But let me know where you're counting from, too. Always interested to hear where you are as you make comments. We're going to start here in the tropics. We're going to look at the rest of the work week forecast, take a peek around the corner at the weekend. And we're still in geomagnetic storm conditions, and we had a big earthquake. So we've got a lot to get into today. We're going to start here and look at the big satellite picture here in the tropics. And you can see Hurricane Imelda spinning toward Bermuda, Hurricane Umberto spinning toward Fish, and we have another tropical wave right down here in the MDR and another tropical wave behind that. Everybody else is kind of quiet out here, the DR and Puerto Rico, back over to the Lesser Antilles, over into Cuba and the Bahamas. Have seen calming conditions after Imelda has left. There is Imelda right there. Pretty good circulation. Obviously, you can see some shear, not a good outflow channel in any direction except maybe up here to the north and to the east, where the shear is coming out of the southwest and west and pushing this off toward Bermuda. And here is the official National Hurricane Center map. You don't often see two tropical systems this close together, much less two hurricanes together out here in the Atlantic. So an interesting view there. There's Bermuda right here where the cursor is. And if we take a look here, there is Hurricane Umberto. It's going to become extra tropical very, very quickly as it is being sheared, and it is over cooler water. So warnings and advisories will be discontinued probably later today. There is Imelda's track, and you can see it is continuing to maintain hurricane strength as it moves over Bermuda, directly over Bermuda, where you all are under hurricane warnings. It will continue out into the Atlantic and eventually make its way over toward Europe as it loses some steam and becomes extra tropical. Here you can see that most of the guidance maintains Category 1 status, maybe getting close to Category 2 over the next 24 hours or 12 hours or so, but really shouldn't strengthen much beyond that, and will lose some punch, but certainly expected to be over Bermuda this evening, late into the overnight hours, maybe around 12, 1 o'clock East Coast time. That's going to be different Atlantic time, of course. But certainly it's a fairly punchy hurricane. It's not one of the most intense ones that we've seen, but winds are around 90 miles per hour and is moving in your direction. So a formidable storm nonetheless. Here, a tropical storm force wind probabilities 100% up here around Bermuda. You guys are going to experience tropical storm wind speeds for sure, and very, very likely you're going to experience hurricane force winds as well. Definitely some gusts, 60 to 70%, but that'll go up as the system gets a little closer to you, I feel very sure. Rip currents up and down the coast are a problem. If you're vacationing and you're getting out into the water, please pay attention to the flags on the beaches, folks. A lot of dangerous rip current action. We're seeing some coastal erosion and beach erosion with both of these hurricanes really chopping the waters up. Waves are as high as 30 to 40 feet out here near these storms, but wave action getting into the coast is around 10 feet. So got to pay attention out here over the next several days if you're vacationing. Tomorrow doesn't get a lot better, maybe in spots, but we're going to see rip currents, potentially life-threatening rip currents through the end of the week. So pay attention out there. Other than that, not much going on. We're going to take a look here at the ensemble members. What we're seeing here is the European ensembles, and they are tracking a wave that is coming off the coast of Africa now and seeing some development. Some of those ensemble members are, there they are, and they kind of fan out as we've kind of seen all season. So as we get out to day 10, this is day 10. I've already run this ahead for us. This would put us later on into next week. You could see potentially a tropical cyclone approaching the Antilles or up out here into the Atlantic as well. The steering pattern is uncertain the farther out in time we go. So we're going to watch this wave as it traverses across. Few ensemble members show something in the Gulf. We've got a little piece of energy that's kind of hanging out in the Gulf. We're going to see a little bit of upper level energy sneak down there as well. So over the course of the next few days, as we get on in toward later in the weekend, we might see a little bit of a tropical depression or some kind of a low pressure format here that we'll have to keep our eyes on for sure. If we take a look at the Google DeepMind, it is showing a similar solution to the European ensemble, so gives us some kind of consistency, at least that there is an idea of a storm that could potentially form out here in the next several days and track eastward across the Atlantic. So we got to watch it because it is that time of year, and I showed you yesterday in yesterday's video, and I'll link it to the end of this video as well, but I showed you a little bit about what's going on out in the tropics generally as we get on in toward mid-month, and it looks like conditions may become a little bit more favorable out here generally speaking. So definitely going to watch any wave that takes shape in the Atlantic, and it has a couple of members, not a big signal for something around the Caribbean or the Gulf as well. But again, a little piece of energy down here in the Gulf we're going to watch. And that's tropical update for today. We're going to ask you a question right now. It's related to the weather to test your weather IQ, and then we're going to take a look at the rest of the work week forecast. Yesterday we talked about snowfall. Today we're going to talk about rainfall. It's not quite winter yet, although I cannot wait for winter, and we are going to have fun tracking some cold snow and ice on this channel. Let me just tell you right now, folks, but right now I've got a question for you about rainfall, and here it is. Which U.S. city sees the most annual rainfall? Here are your choices: Mobile, Alabama; Miami, Florida; New Orleans, Louisiana; Nolens; and Hilo, Hawaii. Those are your choices. If you know the answer or want to guess, type it in the comments section. If not, I'll have the answer for you at the end of the show. But right now, I've got your upcoming end of the week forecast. If you haven't yet joined the team, folks, hit the subscribe button down below and sign on. We have a lot of fun here. Keep you up to date on the weather. We cover some interesting things beyond just the rain and snow and high and low temperatures. We do a few other things than that, have a little bit of fun along the way. Always make sure you learn something too. Definitely hit the like button if you like the content, but most importantly, leave a prayer request in the comment section. If there's anything I or the community can pray over, put it down there. I want to support you however we can. Let us know how we can do that. And if you have a weather question, put it in there as well. Certainly read the comments and respond to everything that you guys say to me. So thank you for all of the support and the growth. All of those things help YouTube push this out to a wider audience. The only way I can grow is if we grow together, and interaction helps that to occur. So thank you all again for the support. Now, look at this map. You see this? This is the temperature departure for the month of September, or most of the month. It tells you how warm or cool relative to normal the United States has been. And you can see the biggest warm anomalies are across the northern tier, with a secondary push down through the Mississippi Valley and across the southern plains. Out here in the Four Corners region, the southeast, we've been closer to normal than the rest of the nation. Here is the precipitation anomaly map. Browns and reds, bad. That means we're below normal, and by quite a lot. -4 inches, 5-6 inches over here in eastern North Carolina. Browns across the north made up some ground over the last couple of days, and we'll continue to see up here in Washington State, particularly along the coastal sections, more ground made up there. But it's been wetter than normal over the last 30 days here in the Central Plains back into the Southwest, with frequent tropical or injections of tropical moisture through there, and also in the Tennessee Valley, curiously enough. In Florida, where it was dry earlier, you guys have accumulated some rainfall down there. There's your drought monitor map. Still a lot of ground to be made up here out west. Big time drought going on out here, and getting drier and drier in the east, particularly from the Ohio Valley or the southern mid-Mississippi Valley up to the northeast and into the southeast and southern plains too. So we'll watch that, but October's been a dry month. Here's the wind map, folks. Look at this. Windy up and down the coastal sections out into the waters. Of course, if I plant the flag here on Cape Hatteras, we're looking at 31 miles per hour out of the northeast. As these systems pull away, going to get a big northeasterly flow. A high is going to build in here and keep us a little cooler than normal along the east coast. Out here in the central plains, 17 miles per hour out of the south. So we've got plenty of moisture coming in out of the south into these areas. And then look at this. Big ocean storm just slinging energy in here into the west coast day after day. So rounds of showers are coming in here, and we're seeing that occur and validated on the radar imagery, folks. And that's what's going on here. In terms of satellite, if we take a look at our satellite image, we can roll this back. Let me put it back in the center of the country here and kind of see what's going on. Pretty clear up here from the northeast down in toward the Great Lakes, but we've got still clouds and some drizzle hanging on here toward the eastern sections of the Carolinas, but some higher clouds stretching into the south And back here in the center portion of the country, let me get rid of the little flag. Definitely some clouds from the western lakes into the Midwest, down into the heartland region, and some showers coming out of these clouds as showers kind of move through, and they'll dissipate through the day, but through the central plains into basically Nebraska and Kansas, stretching up here into South Dakota. And there are the clouds associated with this big ocean storm coming in. Look at the satellite image of that thing just swirling out here, and you can see moisture coming on in to the Pacific Northwest, and little bits of energy in the flow, creating showers through the Intermountain West and the Northern Rockies. Air quality not great around Dallas, Houston, and back in toward Austin and south and southwest of there, and also here in Oregon, but things have gotten a lot better up here in the Northwest with those wildfires, not as much smoke in the air there. Taking a look here at the surface map, you can see sort of the boundary between those little pockets of energy coming in, and the flow is really out of the southwest. My pen's not working today, so I can't draw it, but from the southwest up here to the northeast, that's where our flow is in the atmosphere, and you're seeing the energy come in around that, sparking rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Plenty of more rain this afternoon in the northwest with some snow in the higher elevations of the Cascades and the Rockies. A few showers this morning will dissipate as the day wears on, and just scattered showers through Florida up into parts of the deep south this afternoon. Taking a look at how the rainfall will play out, you can see those showers from the Dakotas down into the Central Plains today, a little bit of drizzle eastern North Carolina, and some showers around the Gulf Coast into Florida, and of course up here in the northwest as well. As we go on through the afternoon hours, we get on in toward this evening, about 8 o'clock East Coast time. Still got showers and some thunderstorms here around Florida, the deep south, but things have dissipated up here in the Intermountain West and the Northern Rockies and the Northern Plains, but we've got more energy working in to the west, and that will be the main focus of showers, that and around Florida, as we go on through the next day or so. And you can just see that continue, these little pockets of energy sparking showers, rounds of showers as we get on in toward Thursday afternoon, so tomorrow afternoon. And look at the flow coming off the Atlantic as we kind of rapidly put this into motion around high pressure to the north and these hurricanes that are moving off. We see that flow coming in from the east, and one more round of showers. We'll get an actual bona fide upper level low here in the southwest, and part of that energy will fuel a low pressure that eventually develops as we go through the weekend here in the western plains, and that could bring some severe weather into the picture across the northern plains as we get on into the weekend. But that's what we're looking at as we go through the next couple of days from a precipitation standpoint. Here's the total through Friday evening. Really not much to speak of here in Florida along the East Coast. We could definitely see a little bit more in the way of rainfall, as there is some enhancement to that flow there. But throughout the rest of the state, certainly looking at about 1/4 of an inch, maybe to 1/2 an inch to an inch as we get into the southern parts of the state. A few spots picking up some showers this morning, as I said earlier, maybe along the northern tier, but the bulk of the rain is going to be out here in the Pacific Northwest, where you really need it, particularly the northern sections around the Puget Sound here of Washington State. You can see a couple of inches of rain, maybe 2 or 3 inches up there, and then stretching back into the mountains here. Bitter roots back down into Nevada could pick up a couple of inches in that area as well as we work through the rest of the week. Temperatures as we go on out into today, tomorrow, and Friday. They finally changed the color scale here, which is great. Now we see exactly where the 80s and 90s are, and they show up they stick out like a sore thumb, don't they? From the southern plains where we find 90s and humidity across the south, up into the northern plains where lower 80s persist, and this is way above normal for this time of year. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Here are your average daily temperatures. This combines highs and lows. So all these blues, this is daily temperatures in the 40s now. This is what it should be feeling like in terms of normal for October. South of there 50s, south of there 60s in the yellow, and then a few pockets of 70s showing up. We've gotten rid of the 80s for the most part. You can even see if you got good color rendition on your computer. You can see this purple area. These are temperatures around in the 30s for daily averages, folks. We're far from that, with today's highs in the 80s in the central portion of the country, 70s down to 60s, down to 50s in the northeast. We're going to see high pressure build in and keep us wedged in here. So hopefully at least in the upper southeast, we're going to stay out of the 80s back to the north. West and into the Four Corners region, we're looking at 60s and 70s out here as we go on in toward Thursday. Much the same just a little bit stronger of a warm push as we get those southerly winds out of the head of the next system out here in the west. We're going to see temperatures plunge. Plunge isn't the right word. Surge is a better word. Surge out of the south into the 80s, plunging up here into the 50s into the northeast. And that high pressure that's going to be centered over the Ohio Valley here is going to drag in some cooler air from the north. Between that and the hurricanes, we're going to see a nice northeasterly flow, and then more systems pushing into the west, going to keep you cooler out there, 60s and 70s. And certainly warmer in the desert southwest. 90s making their way all the way up into South Dakota, close to North Dakota, and into Minnesota as we get into Friday. So the heat just builds and builds. The warmest temperatures relative to normal are going to be up here in the northern plains, and down in Florida is warm too. We're starting to warm up along the east coast too as that high pressure kind of dissipates and moves off to the east, and warming up a little bit out west too. That's your forecast for the rest of the week. We're going to take a look at the weekend and the 6 to 10 day and wrap up with space and geological weather. Right up. Starting off Saturday morning, you can see that high pressure in control still here in the upper southeast and mid-Atlantic, and punching that wedge. You can see that wedge signature with these curved lines going down this way. It's not a strong wedge, but it's certainly enough to keep us in a northeasterly flow and keep us mostly dry here along the east coast, northeast into the central portion of the country here. But the trouble spots are going to be in the northern plains, northwestern plains, and Rocky Mountains as we start to see low pressure take shape out here with some energy and a cutoff down into the southwest as well. And then, of course, Florida. Now, as we roll this along, this is Saturday morning, we get on to Saturday afternoon. Plenty of thunderstorms and showers developing out here. Could even see a few severe thunderstorms as we go on through Saturday evening and get into Sunday as that low pressure really winds up and we start to see a bigger area of rain, even some snowfall up here in the northern Rockies, and southeasterly flow just continues to push rainfall into the southeast as we get on into Sunday and then into Monday, and high pressure starts to build in here across the northern plains, shutting down the severe weather threat, but certainly a few pockets of energy in the mid-level flow will provide some clouds and showers to the nation's midsection as we get on into Monday. And then to kick off the next week, we'll see another front work in at some point during the middle of the week is the way it looks today, but really not expecting any brutal cold air behind that. Just a quick cool down before another surge of warm air comes in. Taking a look at the temperatures, you can kind of see that play out. Cool as we go through the week as high pressure ridges down the east coast. Systems are working into the west coast, keeping us cooler out there. The southerly flow between those platforms keep us very warm in the middle of the country. And you see where those anomalies are. These are the anomalies. The brighter the colors, the warmer than normal it is, and the darker the blues, the cooler than normal it is. And the cool air just hangs on in the west and the east as we get on into Friday and then Saturday and then into Sunday we start to warm up in the southeast with a big push as that low pressure winds up and drags some cool air down out of Canada. And then out ahead of that, a surge of warmth, and boy, that warm air just really builds up in Canada. We're looking at as much as 20 degrees above normal here, folks. That's just incredible. We get into 20, 25, even 30 degrees above normal up here. This is just crazy warm for this time of year. That works in the north east as we get on out in toward Monday and Tuesday, and there comes a little push of cool air as we get into toward middle of next week. Looking at the 6 to 10 day, got to get on the right display so we can see it, but very warm for much of the nation. Only spot is really near normal from October the 6th to the 10th is out here just in the Intermountain West, up into the northern plains above in Alaska, above in Hawaii. That's just ugly. And then as we get to that southeasterly flow or easterly flow off the Atlantic over the next week or so, we're going to see potentially here in Florida above normal where we need the rain, into the southeast too, a signal for that, and moisture surging in the southwest to keep us above normal there, much below as we get on past the weekend out here in the northwest. Alaska and Hawaii look to be above as well. And that is the long range. Now we're going to take a look at space weather and wrap things up there. We are finally coming out of geomagnetic storm conditions. Could see some reverberation around that, but I expect solar wind will pick up again as this coronal hole departs, and we've got some sunspots that have grown fairly complex facing us now. So we're on solar flare watch. You can see the KP index here got to strong conditions back down in toward moderate and weak, and now we have green bar showing up. So hopefully that will continue to diminish, but you can see solar flares, nothing going into the X range, so that's good. but we do have some sunspots here, and this one here particularly is very, very complex and starting to grow as well. 4236, look at this. We've got negatives and positives kind of intermingled in here, and they are a little bit separated, but they're kind of morphing around. We've got to watch this. This would enhance the risk for a solar flare and potentially a CME, which would continue to just batter our magnetic field and put us back into geomagnetic storm conditions. That's the one that we're watching with several other sunspots around. Aurora viewing for the next couple of days, looking today and tomorrow. It doesn't look all that high in terms of a chance of aurora being produced, but we're going to watch it anyway. Keep an eye to the north if you're along the northern tier, because any sort of enhancement of that solar wind will put us back in geomagnetic storm conditions and potentially create an aurora too. So watch for that as we go through the next couple of days. Had a 6.9 earthquake here in the Philippines. A lot of damage here, and some people were killed. So don't know if that's linked to any of the or the geomagnetic activity that we've had, geostorm activity, but in any event, sometimes you see big earthquakes coincide with an uptick in solar storm activity. So that occurred overnight, and so prayers up for these folks out here as they sift through the damage and try to figure out what's going on there. And no big earthquakes going on around the United States, so that's good news, folks. No volcanoes either. Outside of that, that's pretty much the weather show for today. I hope you've learned a few things and had a little bit of fun. I'm going to get you the answer to that IQ question, see if you got it right. Which U.S. city sees the most annual rainfall? Mobile, Miami, Nolens, or Hilo, Hawaii? And the answer is Hilo, with about 126 inches of rainfall on an annual basis. That is wet, folks. Better have good protection around your house if you live there, and keep that basement sealed up. I don't know how many basements people have on Hawaii. Probably not a lot, but definitely keep the umbrellas handy. A couple of other things that thought was interesting today. In 1908, Ford's first Model T was completed and put into production. It revolutionized the automobile industry. And also, back in 1971, Walt Disney World opened. Have you ever been to Walt Disney World? I've been there once or twice. I don't remember. I went to Epcot and Walt Disney World, but it was a long time ago. In any event, that is the show for today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your October the 1st and find something fallish and fun to do this month, folks. I'll be back tomorrow with another update. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you back soon. Follow me on X at Real Cold Rain and TikTok at Real Cold Rain if you want to as well. See ya. Have a great day.